So thank you, Meir, so much. Thank you so much. I'm so honored, pleased, thankful, grateful, and amazed that you're chatting with me today, all the way from San Francisco. I have decided to do this series of wild and wonderful conversations with people that inspire me more than anything in this world. And I'm so excited to be chatting with you today because I have heard your story so many times in person when I've seen you in groups. I've also read your book, Vision for Life, and I listened to your messages, the weekly messages that you sent to your subscribers, and it's incredible. And I still don't seem to be able to get over how amazing your story is. So I just want to do a little introduction about you, and then if you can share your story again with me, I would be so happy. So I'm just going to share a couple of things, Meir. You are a pioneer in natural health, a pioneer in natural vision improvement. You've worked with thousands of people all over the world. You are an author. You have at least two better known books that I'm aware of, and I'm sure many other resources, Movement for Self-Healing and Vision for Life. You are founder and the main instructor in the School for Self-Healing in San Francisco.
In Spanish, we still have the Handbook of Self-Healing, and we're going to have a new version of it in English released on May of next year.
Amazing. Even more to anybody who wants to find out more about your work.
Yeah.
So in my books, you are the master self-healer. And this is because of your amazing story. Please, can you share it with us again?
Absolutely, Asta. So first of all, I'm very, very grateful to you. And I'm so happy to be on your log. It's a big privilege for me. The other thing is, I want to tell you that I really enjoyed seeing you in the conference in Madrid. I'm coming to Barcelona soon.
I heard that, yes.
And I love your girl.
Yes,
she's wonderful. And I love the way that you held her like a kangaroo mom in a pouch. And I kind of felt that she gave a good energy to the whole conference. And there was another infant that came from Scotland that did the same thing. So my personal story is that I was born with cataracts. And cataract is an opacity of the lens. Many people make a mistake. They think it's something over the eye. No, it's within the eye. And I had 5 unsuccessful cataract surgeries, and they led to a situation where 99% of my lens is a scar tissue. And on top of it, I did not see in the time that most people are seeing, which is the age of 8 weeks of life. I only had my surgeries from the age of 4 to 7, and between the scar tissue and not the correct time of seeing, I was reading Braille all my childhood. I've done eye exercises. The principle of the eye exercises was to relax the eyes greatly, like the exercise that we all know of palming in different variation, where you put your hands over the eye orbits and visualize if you're seeing dark. The most I ever palmed was 11 hours in one sitting. It didn't come because I intended to do it, but I had a palming group in my little studio in San Francisco, and I palmed 2 hours a day, but then one time the rest of the group didn't come, and a very good meditator came, and both of us were sitting down and meditating, palming, and she had a blind eye, and the first time she could see light through it, and I improved my eyes enough to be able to drive a car. The other thing that happened is that I learned to adjust to the sun, and the way that I adjusted to the sun was doing what you know and everybody else in the Bates know, and this is closing my eyes and moving my head from side to side, so the pupils would constrict and expand, especially mine that were damaged by the surgeries. One thing that I want to say is that sunning can be performed in many different ways. When I did my sunning, I started to have my vision because there was no way for me to see in regular light. And the dark glasses were put on me because of my nystagmus, to hide my nystagmus, to reduce my nystagmus, which is an involuntary movement of the eyes that is the light causes it to be even worse. Well, those dark glasses prevented me from seeing in the light, and I could hardly see anything in the dark. But because I did sunning, I adjusted to the light. And as I adjusted to the light, from a distance which is right at my nose, I could start to see print. That was the beginning. And then I did many more exercises. And today I read, write, and drive. And I teach all over the world. I'm going to have a trip in Europe coming soon. I don't know when you're going to put this on your blog, but I'm going to be in Barcelona, in Roma, in Kirchhachen, which is near Freiburg, not far from Switzerland. The Black Forest is going to have very nice attendance, a very nice place to do a workshop. And people come from all over Europe, 6-day workshop. Then I'm going to go to Czechia, and then I'm going to go to Portugal and teach there a 6-day workshop. So I have 2 6-day workshop and 3 2-day workshop, and I'm really looking forward for that. And I'm thinking about going to England. So I'm going to be in Europe right now in October and not in the United States. And so I'm happy that you're interviewing me from Spain, because I really, really want to meet people in Spain. One of these days, I'll even speak the language. Now I only speak Portuguese. And I really enjoyed the conference that was there, partially because of you, I must say. And my wish is to train the whole world to do my work. Look what happens these days. Just in the United States, 400,000 people died for medical treatment. More people die from arthritic medications and from all illegal drugs put together. We have to find out exercises that really help us. But most fitness exercises don't really help us. Not that I'm against fitness. I'm all for fitness. I run on the beach 4 times a week, bare feet, and it's a cold beach in San Francisco. I bathe once a month in the ocean, which is a cold ocean in San Francisco. It's about 12, 13 Celsius to swim in. I do that. People think I'm weird, and they're right. But the point is, even in my 60s, I have that capacity. I still have strength to carry patients to the wheelchair and from the wheelchair to the pool without them falling, without any problem. And my patients really trust me. So all my strength came from subtle exercises of kinesthetic awareness. And I was able to help people with different blinding conditions, like wet macular degeneration, that doctors give us illusion that they fix, but they really don't, because they give us injections that fix them for a while for the eye to bleed later. We work on preventing bleeding from happening in the first place. And how we do it? Because we bring more blood to the eyes, and then the eyes doesn't grow capillaries to compensate for lack of circulation. So just killing the capillaries doesn't solve the problem. It solves it for now and leaves a problem for later. So we are really helping those. We're helping many blinding conditions, but also many paralyzed conditions. And we work on kinesthetic awareness, which is to find through your breath and through movements of muscles you never used before, and we have more than 600 muscles when we use only 50 out of them. We learn with that how to use muscles we never used before. Well, I've gotten many people out of the wheelchair that way. I prevented people from going to nursing homes as a result of it by giving them independence. Just yesterday, I got somebody with multiple sclerosis to a pool, and then she walked 15 steps, and that's a lady that her daughter wanted to put in a nursing home, and I'm able to keep her at home. So we do things like this in the most realistic way there is. We need a new physiotherapy that will include exercises for the ears, for the eyes, for kinesthetic awareness, that will include the right way of imagining our movement, that will include a whole new way of using muscles we never used before, and integrate them with the muscles we always use and overuse. And if we get there, we have a whole new humanity. And I don't think the change is going to be in presidential campaigns. I don't think the change is going to be with politicians. I think the change is going to be with us working on ourselves. There's the 100 monkey phenomena, where if we work on ourselves, others will too, and our world will completely change. And that's why I'm so grateful to you and the blog that you're starting to have.
Amazing. Meir, I really, really resonate with the titles or the names that you have chosen. For example, the School for Self-Healing or the Movement for Self-Healing, as your book is called. I think it's especially the movement for self-healing, because you're actually saying that we need to move in order to be healthy and have healthy bodies. But also, I feel like what you're saying, and through the book and through all your work, you're starting this movement, global movement for self-healing. What would you say self-healing is? And for someone who wants to start something for their health, where do you even begin? Like, what does it mean to self-heal? And how do you teach it in your school, I suppose, is the other. How can you teach self-healing?
Self-healing is personal. For example, sometimes we can't heal someone. They're about to die. So dying peacefully is self-healing. Self-healing is not one size fit all. It's different in different situations. But it is at all times the responsible way of finding what our body needs and responding to it, instead of telling the body what it needs. What about all those people that become boxers and athletes that are doing very well and died at the age of 50? What about those who don't pay attention to the body, have a bunch of joint replacements, have a bunch of situations that get them in front of the doctor's office on a regular basis? You see, what happens is people say, I'm healthy, I need nothing else. I just now talked to a couple of ignorants like this. A guy had a stroke, lost his vision. I said, now I can preserve the other eye. I said, well, the eye is okay. So they don't need anything, right? So the point is, they actually do. Because if you already got a stroke, you can get another one. People just think symptom and symptom repair. We have this kind of industry of repairing symptom. Well, sometimes it's important. I'm not saying it never isn't. If you have a dense cataract, maybe it needs to be removed. There's all kinds of symptoms that we need to focus on. But most of the time, we need to work on improving the health and the well-being of the body. That's very, very important. And it is learning our inner power, and it is learning that we are guests of nature and letting nature work through us. And that is you do through movement, through discovering yourself in a whole new way. What is movement for the muscular dystrophy patient? It is learning, first of all, not to strain, and learning how to activate fibers that didn't die and improving them. What is movement for me? Well, learning what my diet does to me, that's movement for me, Learning how to run in a way that is easier for me. Learning how to approach my 60s and 70s in a way that suits my body, and learning the beauty of it. Everybody is beautiful in many ways. I'm looking at you, Asta, and you are beautiful Hollywood style. You're very, very, very pretty, But not everybody is pretty as you are in terms of how they look. And your real beauty is not only your external beauty. There is a lot of radiation of life from you. So, if we have beauty in our eyes and we love the world we're in and we accept ourselves emotionally and we are together with whatever happens to us, then we really are healing ourselves. If we demand things from God, if we demand that things will get better, if we get upset if they don't, if we're upset at our life, upset at others as if they cause problems to our life, and resentful, we cannot really heal. The only way to heal is to have self-discovery and be in awe of the powers that exist. And we have a lot of powers. You can get muscular dystrophy patients out of the wheelchair. You can get people who are nearly blind to see well. You can get people who wear glasses to get rid of the glasses. But it starts with accepting your strength. And that's the beginning of self-healing.
So how would you say, Meir? Because I know from your books and from videos that you share that you have worked with, thousands of people, cases, quite extraordinary, quite difficult conditions. For example, people with, arthritis or multiple sclerosis or eyesight conditions like glaucoma, or people after very difficult accidents with very, very difficult injuries that need your support. And, you've done extraordinary things. working with them, and what would you say from some of the most successful cases that you've had, because there are some extraordinary stories, do you see some kind of common pattern, like what would actually perhaps is the common factor of all these greatest success stories that you've had? Was it people really spending time doing what they were supposed to do? Was it really wanting? Was some kind of mind powers? What would you say was the main criteria for some of the most amazing healing stories that you've witnessed?
You know, today we're talking a lot about saving the environment. The beginning environment is you. So if a person respects the life that was given to them, and if a person feels that he wants to do the best he can do with his life, and not listen to doctors who tell him it's over, you can do nothing, and do whatever he or she can do for themselves, there is no limit to what they can do. That's the truth. Now, it's different in different situations. I don't expect, Asta, that if you meet a woman who was born with muscular dystrophy, she will ever have your strength. But she may have the best strength she can have for someone who was born with muscular dystrophy. She may just limp a little bit instead of being in the wheelchair, or die from the illness. So the difference between people with different problems is enormous. What caused people to improve? I'm thinking about my good student Bia with muscular dystrophy. She wanted to dance samba. She wanted to be able to chew without being tired of chewing within 3 bites. She wanted to be able to have better facial expression. And she wanted to be able to lift her arm up. And she was able to accomplish all of that. Are there trials and tribulations? Yes, sometimes one thing doesn't work, then another thing needs to work. Sometimes we need intensive treatments to continue a progression. What makes me work well? Well, until this very day, I do work. These days, I really am fascinated with my work with red and green glasses. I have red print. I put red and green glasses in front of me. Anytime that I go practically anywhere, I do that. And for about a minute, I read with my red and green glasses. I can't find them just with my touch in the drawer right now, although I'm trying to do that. Or sometimes I would put these glasses, those are the opposite ones, and I would look through them and pay attention to what I'm seeing with my weaker eye, my right eye. If I order food in restaurant, I'll leave that restaurant and read my red print with red and green glasses. So my right eye will rest and my left eye would work, the one that can read the red and print. So the point is, the moment that you want to work on yourself, you want to be responsible in your life, fulfill the duties that you have in life. One doesn't come at the expense of another. But also, find time for yourself. I can tell you from what I saw that you're an incredible mother. And I think at the same time, you should find time when you're not a mother and you're just your own. And you do that, and your daughter is yours for life. And you'll be able to help her through the rest of your life. You know? So that's the big thing that I think is very important. So what is it I'm telling people that is so different? What I'm telling people is that basically the resources in your body are great. And that's what I'm going all over Europe to teach. And that's what I'm teaching in my place. And I would love to see more people coming to my training and train to become practitioners in self-healing. I think it is going to be the new form of physiotherapy of the future. And I really hope to see it before I die. But if I won't see it before I die, and it will happen after I die, it's going to be fine. I want to see that people find a way to improve themselves like never before, to use muscles they never used, to loosen up the muscles they always use, to integrate between them. We will have no arthritis because the joints will start to work in a very balanced manner. We will have no cancer, I would say, because we learn to improve our immune system. In fact, if you look at all the drugs of the future, they're thinking about using our own immune system to heal itself. Well, we need to use our immune system, and there's specific exercises that help us reduce the stress in the body that then allows the immune system to work better. Because believe it or not, stress suppresses the immune system. So we need to find a way to move forwards, and that's what we're doing. So if I'll give you some other wonderful cases that I had, there was a woman who came to a group of Chinese people right here in California. There was a group of Chinese people who met in a Buddhist temple in the mountains, Santa Cruz Mountains, and worked in that place called Land of Medicine, Buddha Land of Medicine. Anyway, one of the wonderful people who came to me went to Hong Kong and played with her daughters and found that one of them hardly sees anything through her right eye. Then she found that she has cataract at the age of 5. She brought it to me, and her vision was so poor, it was 2.5%. It was 2,600. And I said, well, we need the surgery. So I brought her to a physician, a very known physician, and he agreed. Of course, she needs the surgery, and there wasn't a blood supply to the lens, and that's why the lens has cataracts. So the mother said, no way. And instead of bringing it to me for a single session, she brought it to me for triple sessions every single day. It was costly. And I said, the mother, what are you doing? She says, I'm making you fix my daughter. So I worked with her and worked with her. What I've learned at that girl, when I worked with her at the age of 6 and 7 and 8, that she had an amazing memory. So if I would patch her left eye, which was the strong eye, and she would look with the cataract eye at a distance, it would be fuzzy, but she would remember it. So when I massage her, she could hold an image for about an hour. When you remember something, the more you remember it, the more you change it. Because the brain starts to send messages to the eye. To my surprise, right now her vision is 20/40 minus. About 80% of normal vision. Took years, but it's amazing that she did it. We did so many different exercises in a triple session, and she's so cooperative and so wonderful. And the mother is wonderful as well. So what I want to say is the mother did better than me. Mothers know their daughters. And she decided that I have to fix the daughter, so I did.
Amazing. Amazing story. Meir, what do you see in terms of trends at the moment? You know, you work with people, you do research, you're very much in the loop in terms of what's happening with our health. You're working with many people. What are you seeing? Are we improving? Or do we really need to wake up and start, do something about this over the years?
Asta, I want your log to be internationally known. I want you to be a part of the TED Talk, and go very, very far. I want it to go viral because the world is getting worse by the minute. By the minute. When you look at all those phones that our teenagers and youngsters are looking at all the time, you can see that their periphery is being limited. Peripheral vision is so important. Humanity spent 1 million years, and whomever what was before humanity spent 70 million years to develop periphery. We are blocking it every day, and worse every day. We don't understand that classrooms should have better light, so we give them fluorescent light. We don't understand that sitting on a chair is even worse than smoking, and smoking is very bad. We don't understand sitting on a chair, for a long, long time. We don't understand that shoes and cement are very difficult for the feet. We have to revise our life. Do you know that armless people can feed themselves with their toes? And yet most people don't have any movement in their toes. Do you know that people used to climb up trees, but people are not walking in rotations, they don't lift their arms? We canceled so many of our muscles. And we are starting to be more and more degenerate. And you know what? The wars in the world, the lack of quietness in the world, you even have lack of quietness in beautiful Spain these days, But Spain is better than many other places. And truth of the matter is, this lack of quietness in the world is a result of the fact that we don't have enough expansion within our own body.
Oh.
From that, anger, jealousy, upset, all that begins. If we learn how powerful we are and our great nature is, and we go above the animal instinct, the bad one that comes out from us, and go into the spiritual instinct that we can have of using more of ourselves, understanding more of ourselves, meditating peace within us, we will get to a whole new place in the world, and then we will have totally different life, because what we're looking at is what exists within us. Our politicians are us. That's the truth. Doesn't matter if it's Spain or the United States. Now the United States is a bit worse.
Interesting to watch what's happening. Okay, the next question that I had for you. So you're sharing amazing stories, amazing work that you're doing. Your own case is incredible. You're witnessing everyday people doing extraordinary things with their bodies, with their eyesight. And yet, at the same time, we have the whole medical system, which, as you were saying, has amazing benefits and its uses and its place in our lives. But also, ophthalmologists and optometrists that are telling us that certain things are not possible. So, for example, from my own experience, I've had myopia since I was fairly young, since I started school actually. And as it happens, once you get the glasses on, every time you visit an optometrist, you just get a higher prescription. It's just that simple. And I remember a particular case a few years ago when I went to check, one of the last times when I checked my eyesight, and I shared with the optometrist that, I had discovered this amazing Bates method, and I was beginning to get to know a little bit more about your work and everything. And he just laughed at me. He just said, this is completely crazy. It's not possible. If you achieve something, come and talk to me, but I don't believe it's going to happen. And so why do we have this? On one hand, you have all the resources, all the tools, or answers in some cases for people to heal, and yet no, it just seems like the whole system is kind of myopic. They don't want to see the answers, or they don't want the solutions, even though they tell us that they're looking for them. Why is
No, they're not telling us they're looking for them. That's your mistake. They told us they found them. The solution for your poor vision is crutches, glasses. Next thing, the solution for your poor walk is crutches and walker, before you even start to solve it. So let me just correct you on that one. They are not looking for solutions. If they look for solutions, they would have looked at us. And I have many examples of that. I want to tell you just, my daughter was born with cataract. And I went the medical route. We have removed her lenses. We gave her contacts to see from near and slowly less. But you reduce her prescription from 33 to 12, by the way. That's not bad, right? And she doesn't have a natural lens. At the age of 10, just before her 10 years old, she went to the hospital where normally she goes to see the optometrist and then the ophthalmologist. There was a new optometrist that she did not know. So the optometrist started to give her high prescription, more and more and more and more, and she saw worse and worse and worse. She used to see 20/30, 20/40 with correction, and then she saw 20/80, 20/100. So I wasn't there, but when I came, her mom was so upset. I said, no big deal. I put her on my shoulder, put an eye patch over her left eye, got her to see cars moving below, so working her weaker eye. She went to her doctor and she saw 20/60 without glasses. Well, 20/80 with high prescription. And the first time in her life, 20/20 with glasses. A girl with no lens. Okay? That's one example of how things work. Her doctor wrote me a wonderful letter of recommendation, and he's the top ophthalmologist in the whole world. Pediatric ophthalmologist, Dr. Hoyt. And it's in my book, by the way. The English book, the new version, yeah? The second thing is I met a person who was scheduled for cornea replacement because of keratoconus. I worked with him. His vision improved dramatically. And both his optometrist and ophthalmologist, after 8 months of work with me, said that the transfer is not necessary. Then he wanted to tell them why, and they didn't want to hear about it. Okay? So let me explain to you that we need to make a revolution. In the 60s, people who ran and modified their diets were laughed by everybody, including cardiologists. Today, every cardiologist will tell you, if you don't want to have heart problem, pay attention to your diet. If you don't want to have a heart problem, do some exercises. Right now, cancer specialists are talking about cutting down sugar. So in some ways it improves, but when it comes into a neurological problem, they know nothing. When it comes into vision problem, they advise you nothing. That's why we're here. We're teaching physical therapy for the eye and for the nervous system. And people do exercises which are really destroying the body. I would call them not very wise exercises of overstraining some of the muscles, of overstretching at times to a point of tear. And we work on feeling the body and dialoguing with the body. Everything that I know from the age of before 17, the last 45 years, I tell you something, everything that I know is nothing comparing to what the next person needs. I always need to dialogue with their condition. And with that, you can repair so many things. You can get an eye that protrudes out because of thyroid problem back in. You can do so many things, but you have to understand relaxation, adjustment to light, looking at a distance, looking at small details, peripheral vision, balance use of the eyes, balance use within each eye, that you use part more than others, body and eye coordination, better blood flow. That's for vision. For the body, we need to relax the muscles we always use the muscles we never used before, then integrate between them, and better connection between the nerves, the muscles, and the skin and the brain. We have to start to create better connection with everything.
What about mind? What role does mind play? You know, there's a lot of talk about mindfulness, mind-body connection. How do you see this in your work?
The mind is in every cell. The digestive system affects your brain. The brain affects the digestive system. Your sexual system affects your brain. Your brain affects your sexual system. The muscles affect the brain affects the muscles. Yesterday, when I worked with my patient that going up the stairs, it was clear that whenever she's afraid, she freezes and she becomes more paralyzed. So when she's less afraid, she's not. And it's very skillful to work on relaxing. Why does someone has asthma? Because they fight to breathe. It's hard for them to exhale, and then they fight to breathe. If they don't fight, they breathe. And instead of taking all those inhalers, we teach them to breathe through the lower back, where they don't know that the lung expands to, but it does. And once they focus on the lower back, they let go of their chest and the abdomen, they breathe better. So your question about the mind is a very deep question. The mind is a part of our work on ourselves. Even when I lift my arm up, I could say, my fingers lift my arm, so my shoulder is relaxed, and my arm is relaxed, I can lift it. If I say that, my arm is light. If I don't say that, it's heavy. There's another thing. Listening. If we talk about mind, we talk about listening. Many people exercise heavily when the body is not ready for it. For example, my time to run is early in the morning, and not every morning. But some people will do heavy exercise in the middle of the day and would think it's good for them. And they suffer and they think it's good for them. And we need to listen to the body and respond to its needs. And we're running away from the body. Sometimes we're hiding behind a discipline and focus on the discipline and forget ourselves. So being mindful is being here and now and present.
So true. And as a mom, Meir, I have to ask, how do I, what can I do? How do I ensure that my daughter grows up healthy, happy, with great eyesight? What would be the tips and tricks that you can offer to today's parents with all these iPads and phones?
Postpone the phone as much as you can. Take her to nature as much as you can. Install in her the love for salads and not for heavy steaks, install in her the love for nature. There was one ophthalmologist, he was intuitive, which is very nice. And a woman came to bring her daughter to get glasses. And he asked her, how long is she in front of the computer? She said, oh, the whole day. He said, every half an hour she should go out and play. So she went to play, and 2 months later she visited the ophthalmologist. She did not need glasses. An ophthalmologist told to one of my clients, who came to me at the age of 54, she went to her at the age of 44. The ophthalmologist said to her, I can prescribe you glasses for reading, but then they'll have to be stronger and stronger. You can still read without them, so do it. 10 years later, she came to me to learn how to keep reading without her glasses. And she's a lawyer, and they read a lot. What I would like to tell you, beyond any reasonable doubt, is that what you need to do with your daughter is, first of all, allow her independence and tempt her to love nature. Understand that she'll be bored with everything you show her, so each time you have to show her something different. I worked with an infant that came to me from Israel. And they came to me to New York on my latest book campaign. By the way, sold very well. My campaign really worked. And not big numbers, it sold 3,000 in 3 weeks, but it's all the books they printed. They had to print down to 4,000. But anyway, I went to New York, and they met me in New York, and she born with cataract in her right eye, not left. So we patched the left eye, get her to look at the light that is blinking in the ceiling, and went out and patched the part of the right eye because she'd never moved the right eye to the side, and stimulated her, so she looked to the right. By the way, that infant loved me, and I fell in love with her from the moment I met her. I would massage her, which she would nurse, and the mother said she was the most quiet when I was around her, never fussed around me. Okay, so then we moved to Montreal, and we were near a park. And I am against patching. What the doctors would do, they would patch her left eye, remove the cataract within 6 months, and do not expect good results. Well, I was for only interactive patching. So we went to the lake. She was interested in ducks. That's when we patched her left eye. She kept looking with the right. We saw that in 3 days she wasn't interested in ducks anymore, but she was interested in dogs. One dog even liked that and started to perform for her, jump up a rock, down a rock. And then the 4th day, she wasn't interested in dogs, but she was interested in other infants. And then after that, she was interested in nature. And after that, she was interested in light and dark. And we kept understanding what she wants. Well, you have to discipline your daughter or it will be out of place. But you also want to find out what her interests are each time and work with them. And bring her to nature through her interest in any way you can. You'll have a healthy daughter.
And perhaps for parents who may have already, kids with some sort of eyesight problem, maybe the beginning of myopia or something like this. I know it's
not to wear glasses at first.
Not to wear glasses.
No, not at first, unless you need them badly to see the board. Sit in the first row, teach them to look at something familiar before they look at the board, teach them palming, massage around the eyes, massage their neck. You'll see that they'll see way better.
How about working with, if they have to deal with professionals, is there some kind of
Choose your professional. He doesn't have to agree with you, but he should be nice to you with whatever you're doing. So it includes people who are open to our work. And more people are studying with me who are professional. So I really think that we should give credit that some people, after studying heavily as professionals, want to do other things. Many doctors do yoga, not in absolute terms, but in relative terms, quite a few of them. Many doctors look for other things. I've met the top muscle specialist in Brazil with muscular dystrophy, and she admonished me for not writing paper and doing medical research about my work and my success with muscular dystrophy, because she wants to find a drug for those patients, and she wants the right physical therapy, and she assumed that is mine. So that's what she wants to do. So what I'm telling you, One-on-one, those who are very open and very smart will look for something else, including doctors. Don't give extra respect to someone's license. Give extra respect to the process. And if someone with license goes with it, give him even more respect.
I will share, Meir, more all the links to your website and to your YouTube channel and everything like this. Is there anything else that you would like to share to anyone who wants to find out more about your work or any?
So it's very important for me that more and more people will train with me. The training course is not very long. It's not awfully short, but it's not very long. You can come for the first class of 160 hours with me. Those who cannot train with me, come to serious classes like the one I'm going to have in Germany from the 12th to the 18th, and the one I'm going to have in of October, and the one I'm going to have in Portugal, from the end of October to the beginning of February. I want you to come to my classes in anywhere that you're in Europe. Even if you're in England, come to one of those. Sooner or later, I'll go to England anyway. And please, please start to take yourself seriously. Work on yourself seriously. So those who come to my training course and come for the long course of 165 hours, that is the beginning of a course of 1,000 hours, but that long course of 165 hours changed so many people's life. But some people change just reading one of my books. And so work on yourself. That's the beginning and the end message. And give up on your superstitions about yourself. And don't pay attention to what doctors tell you what you can do. You can do a lot.
Meir, I am so grateful for these few minutes that I had a chance to talk to you. I am going to share about your work. I'm going to translate our conversation to Lithuanian, which is my native language, so that even more people can find out about you and what you do. And it's a wish of mine to come to San Francisco one day and meet you in person for some training as well, and to learn from you and everyone at the school. So I really
Wonderful.
hope.
And what I want to tell you, I hope to have a publisher in Russian for my new book. So if it goes to Lithuania, maybe it will. You can say that I'm looking for a translation to Russian.
Maybe this message will get you the right person. Hopefully, someone will hear this and someone can help you out, because it is a message that needs to be told in all languages and all over the world.
I hope that your blog will go all over the world, and I hope it's only our first meeting.
Me too, Meir. Thank you so very much,
My
and
pleasure.
hope we speak again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.